Well, speaking of Buck Trenderson, let's get to... I didn't want to make it all AEW content on the current wrestling this week. We had some classic wrestling content, but I perused a bit of SmackDown because they advertised Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle in Pittsburgh, back on SmackDown, an Olympic gold medalist, one of the biggest main event stars of the last 20 years. Certainly to God, this is going to be good or something. So I figured I'll see what SmackDown had to offer. You'll never guess how it started out, Brian. How the show started out.
It would either be the Bloodline or it couldn't be the New Day.
The Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes.
There you go.
For the tag team title. This collection of brutes was Sheamus and Butch against the Usos. And again, we talk about on AEW, there's wrestlers we want to see and they disappear for months at a time. In the WWE, they got 200 people under contract. We're seeing the same 12 on every program. And it's always, again, this time they just started a tag team match. They didn't have an interview first. But the Brutes and the Usos took the first 26 minutes of the 2-hour program. The Usos won with their finish. And then Kurt Angle pops up on the screen in the back. He is introducing, remember Gable Steveson, the Olympic amateur wrestling star that they've signed up?
Where did we see him? Was it WrestleMania?
I believe it was. We now have seen him again, standing there with Kurt Angle, where he was introduced to Braun Strongman. And Strongman's like, hey, I heard you've been down at the PC. Hey, we're going to have fun. Gable Steveson, if this was his chance to be introduced and involved in an angle with an Olympic gold medalist, I don't know if he's cruising on Lake Havasoma. I don't know if they had just woken him from a medically induced coma. He had kind of a monotone voice and a face that looked like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I don't know if his personality is set up to be an over-the-top WWE wrestler. We'll see. They announced that John Cena will be back on SmackDown on December the 30th. So we know they're going to do a rating there, but I hope to God it ain't his birthday, because we see what happens later on with people's birthdays. LA Knight. They let LA Knight do an in-ring interview, and he's talking about Bray Wyatt. And they showed the VTRs of the past few weeks. He's been attacked, and you'll find him underneath. Remember the one week he was underneath? Like it looked like a tornado had passed by. It left wreckage over the top of him. And he's always being found under shit after the attack, but he showed footage of these attacks, and lurking in the background in these incidents was a man in a mask. And he knows it's Bray Wyatt. And everybody's a dummy if they don't know it, and he's going to prove it. And then the spooky video shows up on the screen again. And there's more Bray Wyatt and the cuts and the altered audio and whatever the fuck is going on, and the feed your head, and one pill makes you larger, the other pill makes you small. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And so LA Knight gets fed up with the creature features, and he storms to the back to find Bray Wyatt somewhere. I like LA Knight, but now I'm just, oh, for fuck's sake. The heel seems like the reasonable one in this. Then they had the Viking Raiders against the Lucha Suits. And this match went 2 whole minutes before B-Fab came out in the entranceway with a chair and sat down to watch, which was a distraction for the rest of Skid Row to hit the ring and beat up the Viking. And they just beat the shit out of the Viking Raiders. The angle lasted longer than the match. And then the Raiders' new girl, Valhalla, she jumps on one of them, and B-Fab comes in and beats her up. And we were 50 minutes into the 2-hour program from just seeing what I've just described. And then LA Knight was in the back looking for Bray Wyatt in the locker room area, and he finds a T-shirt with, I think it was one of Bray's shirts, and suddenly the lights go out, and he sees a man in the mask, and we go to break. I don't know what the fuck happened. So next, Imperium came out to have a contract signing with Ricochet, because Ricochet is going to be facing Gunther very shortly. And Adam Pearce was in charge of the contract signing, as he always is. And I said, okay, Gunther, I'm going to watch this. He's one of my favorites. And before they'd done a ding-dong thing, here came the New Day. And I said, all right, my interest level has dropped drastically because I'm now not going to watch this because it's the New Day and I smell a six-man tag. And they got Gunther playing with children. And Brian, you'll never guess what happened. After they did bad comedy about erectile dysfunction illusions, when the Imperium said, Gunther said, we are not entertainers, we're not performers, we're wrestlers. So they took that, oh, you have problems performing. And then they made some dick jokes. And then they got a big fight and started the six-man tag. God damn it. And then the six-man tag was over when Ricochet beat Kaiser Wilhelm. And we were an hour and 25 minutes into the show. Have you missed anything yet? Is your mouth just salivating for all the things that you could have seen if you'd have watched this program?
My mouth salivates for Omaha steaks, not for this.
Well, then we found out that Gable and Otis weren't on the list for Kurt Angle's birthday party that they're having. And everybody else is getting in and enjoying everything. It's all backstage, but they can't get in the birthday party. But then when they go later on to the birthday party out in the ring, it's just Kurt. Nobody else is there. I don't know. But anyway, before we do that, we have more miscellaneous backstage bullshit. Then we have a VTR of Lacey Evans doing the basic training that she did. She was a Marine, right? And she's doing she's in the camouflage and she's running around on the logs and she's climbing the things. And it's a goddamn lot better than the last push they gave her, which was to stand up against a wall and talk about her horrible life and childhood. They're trying again. Then we had the team of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Ronda Rousey, the most decorated female MMA fighter in history, and Shayna Baszler, who fought in MMA as well, and their opponents were Liv Morgan and Tegan Knox. Guess which team won?
The viewers.
No, nobody. Actually, nobody won. But Raquel Gonzalez Rodriguez de Molina.
That should be her name now. Raquel
Gonzalez Rodriguez de Molina Jr. came out and distracted the heels, and Liv Morgan beat Shayna Baszler. And I'm thinking, who the fuck does Liv Morgan have these pictures of? She's beat everybody. So, we now have 8 minutes left on the air for this 2-hour program, and we get to Kurt Angle's birthday. And in the ring, they've got cake and tables and balloons and etc. and the whole thing. And I'm thinking, not only have they milked this till 8 minutes left, which means by now they ain't got nothing good coming. And they've teased Gable and Otis, and sure enough, as soon as Angle started talking, here they could shush. And here they come in clown outfits. They've dressed up. Otis has a clip-on tie around his neck with his T-shirt. And remember when main event stars used to come back and interact with other main event stars, and you got the visual of seeing Hulk Hogan and The Rock together, or, Austin and some of the people that last year, Austin and Kevin Owens, for Christ's sake, at WrestleMania, at least it was something. Now you get a legend, a Hall of Famer coming back to do 8 minutes of comedy with all the underneath guys, because that's all they've got left is underneath guys. So this is just a goof segment. And they start doing the promo and tell Kurt to get out of the ring, so he does. And they eat his cake. And after they eat his cake, Kurt says, well, you need milk with that cake. And out comes Gable Steveson driving an antique milk truck. I mean, like from the 40s, right? The old milk trucks. And they are going to redo the Kurt Angle milk truck thing that was a play on the Steve Austin beer truck thing. So 24, almost 5 years after the fact, and they are recreating a moment that recreated a moment. But this moment didn't have Vince McMahon as the evil Mr. McMahon, or the McMahon family, or top main event stars in the ring being shot with the beer hose or even shot with the milk hose, and all the classic reactions of that, and the fact that Austin was so over that even a preposterous was acceptable, and then Angle because it was funny because they did it with Austin, but now it's milk. Instead, now they've got poor Kurt. 25 years later, he's had injuries. He can barely hold on to the fucking hose. And Gable Steveson, that they're trying to give a rub here, just proved that he can drive a goddamn stick shift milk truck. And he has no other involvement in this whatsoever because he has the personality of fucking leaf lettuce. And there's Angle shooting milk at Gable and Otis is taking, he's not doing the swimming in it like Mr. McMahon was. The people are going crazy. He's taking spin bumps in the middle of the ring for no reason off of a goddamn milk hose with not even a lot of pressure. And the big story of the segment was they found an antique milk truck. It's like Shit Stain's back. It's like he called up production. I need a Partridge Family bus on Monday in Boston again. And they just do it. They've got an unlimited budget for this program because they're making more money than they've ever made. And the talent is the shits and presented in a shitty way. And they're doing parodies of angles from 25 years ago. No pun intended, Angle. This is a shit stain. This is the Partridge Family bus. All of just spending money because they can. I told you that one time, didn't I? Keith Mitchell told me that in after a TNA production meeting one time. He sat down, he said, you know what the fucking idiot fucking did to us in WCW? Russo had left the room. He said, you know what the fucking moron did to us in WCW one time? What are you talking about? When he was down there putting them out of business, he called on a Friday after, remember they were making Mike Awesome, that the career-killing gimmick they gave him. He was a 70s guy.
That 70s guy, yeah.
Yeah, because apparently Russo and Dreadlock Ferraro would sit there and watch 70s show reruns also. So they killed his career with that. He called him up on Friday afternoon, the production department in WCW, said, Monday for Nitro in Boston, we need a Partridge Family bus. What? Where do you just go down to the Partridge Family bus store? They had to move heaven and earth. I think they said it cost them tens of thousands of dollars to find and get a Partridge Family bus so this moron could see his goddamn effluvia-like writing come to life on the screen for a fucking mid-card gimmick. Partridge Family bus. The same thing. We're not going to fucking get anybody over here. This is just going to be fucking hokey comedy on a redo of something that we did that got over years ago. But we're going to spend however much money to find an antique milk truck. Good fucking God. So that was Smackdown for you.
I hope at least the milk was fresh.
And that's another thing. Boy, they're going to have to, if they don't clean that mat real good and all the mats around the ring and all the cloth surfaces and whatever, they might as well throw them all away. because about 2 days in a hot equipment truck, and that won't be anything you want to fall down on.